Incredible family dinner. Wife exposed shocking truth about husband's hidden lover and pregnancy. The air crackled with anticipation in Sarah's beautifully decorated home, a perfectly structured slice of the American dream. Every year was the same, the laughter of children darting through rooms filled with the smell of roasted turkey and spiced apple pie. Today was a hallmark of togetherness. Candles flickered warmly, casting a glow on the mismatched, joyful faces of family and friends. Yet, a dark cloud loomed over Sarah, hidden beneath the surface of sunshine and laughter. Today, she felt like an imposter in her own life. As the last dish made it to the table, a wave of nostalgia flooded through Sarah. She glanced around the room, at her husband Tom, who filled glasses with sparkling cider for the children. But his eyes were elsewhere, distracted. An unsettling feeling churned in her belly, a mix of anxiety and dread. It was those late-night phone calls and the mysterious work meetings that had begun to gnaw at her. Was there someone else? Had their perfect life turned into a perfect lie? Her heart raced, matching the muted chatter surrounding her. Laughter rang out, contrasting with the unease tightening like a vice around her chest. Sarah tried to shake it off. This was their tradition. This dinner represented their unity, the love she poured into every dish. Yet, why did it feel like she was cooking for ghosts? Suddenly, her sister, Rebecca, launched into a hilarious story about a disastrous camping trip, eliciting genuine laughter from the guests. The sound sliced through Sarah's tension like a knife. Yet, each joyful outburst only amplified her internal storm. The laughter faded in and out, and the air turned heavy when she caught a whisper from Tom's friend, Mark, "The baby is due in the spring." That sentence hit Sarah like a punch to the gut. Her hands trembled against the table, the surface slick with the remnants of their traditional feast. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. The atmosphere shifted. Guests began to sense the change. The room thickened with tension. Sarah's heart thundered in her ears. She couldn't stay silent anymore. It was like a dam bursting. "Tom," she said, her voice steady but firm. "We need to talk about the lies." Silence fell, heavy and loaded. Her family's attention turned, eyes darting between them like a pinball machine. Tom's face paled, confusion flickering in his eyes. "What are you talking about?" He stumbled, but Sarah could see the cracks forming in his facade. Her sister's laughter faded into awkward glances, the warmth of the gathering replaced by an electric chill. "Don't pretend I know about her. I know she's pregnant." Bam! It was out there, raw and potent. The reality crashed over the room. Voices murmured, shocked expressions widespread. A beautiful dinner had transformed into a battleground of heartache. Sarah stood tall, fists clenched, determined to demand respect, the very essence of what she deserved. She realized in that moment that she held the power to break free from the gilded cage that had become her life. But the question hung heavy like the scent of turkey that lingered in the room. Would she take the leap into the unknown? Everyone's eyes were glued to the scene unfolding. What would happen next? With her heart racing and determination rising, Sarah made her choice known, ready to shatter the illusion of what had once been their beautiful world. The room fell into a suffocating silence, broken only by the hum of the refrigerator in the corner. Sarah's heart felt like it was caught in her throat, and she could barely hear the frantic whispering of her relatives as they processed her shocking declaration. She was prepared to fight for her truth, but she didn't know how it would unfold. Tom blinked as if waking from a dream. His mouth opened and closed, trying to form words that wouldn't come. She saw a mixture of fear and anger flash across his face, the fear of being exposed, and the anger for being cornered. His hands gripped the edge of the table, knuckles turning white. "Who told you that?" He finally managed to croak out, as if that detail would somehow change the reality she'd just laid bare. Do you really think it matters? Sarah shot back, her voice trembling but strong. What matters is the truth. You've been lying to me, to all of us. And we all deserve better than this deception. Tom's friend Mark shifted uncomfortably in his seat, unable to meet anyone's gaze. The other diners squirmed, exchanging wary looks. Rebecca looked horrified, her comedic charm evaporated. The children, blissfully unaware moments before, now stared at their parents with wide, confused eyes. A sense of urgency washed over Sarah as she realized the impact this chaos would have on their lives. Could she put them through this? Let us go outside, Sarah. We can talk, Tom said, desperation creeping into his tone as he stood up. His eyes were pleading, but she wasn't ready to back down. Not now. No, she replied, the word tumbling out like a bold statement. This needed to happen here, in front of everyone who'd ever shared a meal with them, every family member who'd known the couple's scripted life. They deserve to know. Your life is about to turn upside down too, Tom said, his voice rising. You're not thinking straight. We can work through this. Work through what? Your betrayal? She was shocked at how fiercely the words burned. You've built a life on lies. Do you love her? Or is it just a fling? The tension in the room was palpable. Her family watched with bated breath, eyes wide as they passed judgment through silence. I don't know. He stammered, his facade crumbling under pressure. I didn't mean for it to happen. Didn't he mean to? Or didn't he care? She shot back, her heart pounding. For a brief moment, a flicker of doubt crossed her mind. Was this all too much? But she quickly pushed it aside. She had come this far, she couldn't let fear change her course now. Mom, is Daddy in trouble? One of her children finally piped up, and the innocent inquiry hit Sarah like a slap. How could she protect them from the storm brewing? No, sweetheart, she began, tears brimming in her eyes. But it was too late. She could feel the waves crashing around her. Mom, I don't want to lose you. The child cried, reaching out. And at that moment, Sarah knew she wasn't just standing up for herself. She was fighting for her children, for their future. She took a deep breath, steadying herself against the rising tide. Then help me understand, she said to Tom, challenging him with unwavering eyes. Are you willing to fight for your family? Or do you choose her? The question hung in the air like a dark cloud, threatening to burst at any moment. Would Tom rise to the occasion? Or would he let the affair define them all? As everyone held their breath, waiting for the next turn in this gripping saga, Sarah felt a flicker of hope mixed with the deep uncertainty of what lay ahead. The moment of truth was finally here, and whatever decision Tom made would change everything. The air was charged with tension, every eyes glazed over with anticipation and dread as they waited for Tom's answer. He opened his mouth, then quickly shut it again, as if the words were stuck somewhere between his mind and his heart. Running a hand down his face, he took a deep breath, clearly wrestling with his thoughts. Sarah, please, he started, but his voice cracked. What do you want from me? I made a mistake, not just a mistake, Tom, she interrupted, her voice rising in intensity. This isn't just about you anymore. You've betrayed your family. You've betrayed me. The pain twisted in her stomach, making it hard to speak. Did you even think of us? Of the life we built? The echoes of her words seemed to bounce around the room, filled with the hurt of years and dreams unfulfilled. The children shifted uncomfortably, their innocent eyes darting between their parents like they were watching a storm brewing at sea. Tom faltered, his hands dropping to his sides, defeated. The pleading look in his eyes was now laced with something else. Was it regret or guilt? She couldn't tell. I didn't want any of this. I never wanted to hurt you. It just happened. But why? Sarah felt a well of tears threaten to spill over. Was our love ever real? Did you even care? He paused, the room heavy with silence. Each unspoken thought hung like an anchor, weighing them down. Finally, Tom looked at her, really looked, and in that moment, she saw something crack in his facade. I loved you, he said, the words breaking free like a long-held breath. But I felt something was missing, and I thought with her I could find it. Sadness washed over her as she stumbled backward, feeling like the floor had been pulled from underneath her. You thought cheating would help you find what we lost? At that moment, Mark cleared his throat, breaking the heavy silence. Guys, he stammered, glancing at the children. Maybe we should take this somewhere stay, Sarah said with a quiet intensity. Everyone needs to hear this. She looked back at Tom, her determination rising like a phoenix from the ashes of betrayal. Let us not sugarcoat it. You've put us all in this mess, and we want to hide away from the truth. It's time for honesty. As the words left her lips, she saw the adults shifting uncomfortably, and even the kids began to sense the crack in their previously sheltered world. The collective weight of emotions was unmistakable, winding and tangling within each person in the room. I don't know what to say, Tom admitted, his voice now barely a whisper. Then tell me if you choose me, she replied slowly, leaning forward with hope gripping her heart. Do you choose this family? Tom looked around, seemingly noticing for the first time how their children stared at him, faces etched with confusion and worry. A glimmer of recognition flickered in his eyes, but still the silence stretched painfully, a chasm that seemed insurmountable. Sarah, he started, but his voice struggled to find traction, as if it were trapped beneath the weight of his choices. In that unbearable moment, Sarah felt as if she were teetering on the edge of a cliff. Did she want to throw away their years together over Tom's choices? She wanted to scream, to cry, to make sense of it all. Just then, her eldest child tugged on her sleeve. Mom, what is happening? Is everything going to be okay? Those small, innocent words snapped Sarah back into focus. The answer was in her heart, raw and untamed. Could anything ever be okay again? Was it even possible to heal knowing the truth? She shed a silent tear, contemplating the fragile fabric of their lives. I hope so, she whispered, and that feeling swelled inside her, inching to the surface, battling against despair. Tom was still locked in thought, his expression caught between fear and revelation. What would he choose? As they stood on the brink of a decision that could shatter or mend everything they had known, Sarah knew the next words spoken would determine their future. Would he choose love, family, or a life filled with secrets? The room held its breath, the uncertainty thick enough to slice, as if waiting for a single word to ignite the spark of change. Tom's eyes darted around the room, finally settling on the children. Their faces were a mix of confusion and fear, emotions that twisted Sarah's heart even more. She could feel the weight of their innocent expectations pressing on her chest, a reminder of all they had built together. Mom? The youngest piped up, eyes wide and glimmering with tears. Why are you sad? A lump formed in Sarah's throat. She had to be strong, not just for herself, but for all of them. Sometimes, grown-ups make mistakes, she managed to say, her voice trembling. But we can fix this if we're honest. Tom ran his hand through his hair, frustration and despair flickering across his features. He was caught in this moment, unable to flee from the reality he decreated. I was lost, Sarah, he finally exclaimed, his voice rising again. I thought I could find some part of me that felt fulfilled. I didn't realize it would hurt you like this. And you thought hiding it would help? Sarah shot back, anger and heartbreak intertwining. You broke trust with the people who love you. We deserve truth, Tom. They deserve to see what honesty looks like. The fire within her ignited further, shaky but determined. A silence fell over the room. The kids were aware now, the air heavy with truths unspoken. Mark looked like he wanted to disappear, his own uncertainty evident. No one was immune to the fallout. Tom began again, voice almost pleading. I never meant to hurt you or the kids. It was reckless. I know that now. He faltered, eyes glowing with unshed tears. Just what, Tom? She pressed. What is it you want to say? What will it take for you to choose this family again? He assessed her, searching for a lifeline. I need time. I need to understand how I could do this, how to fix it. Tom's words hung in the air, heavy and unyielding. Time felt like a foreign concept. Could they really afford to give that now? In the depths of her heart, Sarah knew healing wouldn't come easily. But she also recognized an ember of hope, a flicker of possibility that perhaps Tom could find his way back. Time? She whispered, torn. Time might just take us apart. We've already lost so much. The children shifted uncomfortably, again glancing back and forth at their parents. The atmosphere thickened with each passing second. With a shaky breath, Sarah asked, "What about her? What does this other person mean to you? Shouldn't we talk about that?" Tom's gaze dropped to the floor. "I never wanted to involve anyone else," he admitted softly. "It was supposed to be a fling, a distraction, but then things spiraled. What if she's pregnant?" A quiet voice cut through the tension. It was Mark who finally mustered enough courage to speak. The air crackled with shock. Sarah felt the world tilt again, her emotions roiling within her. Could it be true? Did Tom's choices lead to something that could irrevocably impact their lives? "No," Tom breathed, his face going pale. "No, I don't think so. I'd never hurt you that way, I promise." But Sarah's heart began to race. What if those words were hollow? What if this was a bridge to even more devastation? Voices whispering all around, her mind racing, Sarah's stomach churned as she faced Tom. The answer to silence felt as fragile as glass. "Did you even think about what we're worth, Tom?" she asked, feeling the weight of betrayal settling in the pit of her stomach. "Did you think about the life we built?" In that charged moment, everything hung in the balance. "Do you still love me?" she pressed, uncertainty dripping from each word. Tom's expression faltered, fear replacing the bravado he had painted earlier. It was the moment of reckoning. Would his heart lead him back, or had he already made his choice in despair? The room stayed still, a universe of possibilities swirling before them, and it felt like the reverberation of truths yet to be unearthed would decide their fate. Tom's eyes glistened with uncertainty, the weight of his choices pressing down on him. Sarah felt her chest constrict with an emotion she couldn't name, a mix of rage and despair swirling into something she almost reveled in. This moment was raw, ugly, and painfully intimate. "Do I still love you?" he echoed, his voice a husky whisper, laden with an exhaustion that seemed to fill the room. I don't know. I don't know if what I feel is real anymore." Her heart sank. His admission felt like a dagger, twisting deeper with each heartbeat. The kids were painfully quiet, their eyes darting between their parents searching for answers. For now, they could only bear witness to the unraveling of the world they'd known. "Mom, what were you talking about?" Mark finally said, frustration bubbling in his voice. "Why don't you just tell him to leave? We don't need him if he's just gonna hurt us." "Mark," Sarah said softly, kneeling down to meet his gaze, "this isn't just about us. It's about all of us." She hated the need to explain this fracture, but now the truth was sprawled out before them like a puzzle missing pieces. "We can't toss away what we built. It's not that simple." Tom took a step back, chaos swirling in his eyes. "You don't get to decide what's simple anymore." He sounded almost desperate. "You have to understand, I didn't think this would happen. Every action has a consequence, Tom." Sarah shot back, her voice rising in indignation. "You chose to play games with our lives. This isn't just about what you do when you think no one is watching. You're a father. A husband. This matters." The children exchanged worried glances, their quiet presence somehow amplifying the tension between their parents. Sarah felt torn apart, loathing the sight of their confusion clashing with her own feelings of betrayal. "I need to figure out who I am outside of all this," Tom said, each word a weighty confession. "I'm not just a husband. I thought maybe I had lost part of myself." "What about us?" Sarah interrupted, voice trembling. "What about our family? Our life?" Silence answered her as thick and heavy as smoke. Mark stood with arms crossed, glancing at his little sister, whose face was transformed with fear. Sarah's heart pounded in her ears. She didn't want to drag her children through this, yet here they were, tangled in the fallout of Tom's decisions. "I want you to pick us, Tom," Sarah cried, emotion enveloping her like a storm. "Make a choice. We could work through this if you want to fight for us. But if you're already checked out, I need to know, right here, right now. Is it worth it?" He finally spoke, the uncertainty hanging between them like a precipice. "Can you ever trust me again? After everything? Love isn't just about trust, it's about choice." She shot back, shaking. "Do you want us? Or do you want to keep running away?" He hesitated, searching her eyes. For a fleeting moment, she thought maybe he would step forward. But then he pulled away, barriers building once more. I just don't know if I can stay. A dull ache filled her heart, a realization settling in that maybe they'd been shattered beyond repair. Maybe the real question is, why did you want to leave in the first place? His gaze dropped, shame creeping across his features. The air quaked with potential words still left unspoken. The kids shuffled uneasily, as if sensing that the conversations were spiraling into a place none of them wanted to be. Then you have to go, Tom, Sarah said finally, drawing in a shaky breath. If you don't want to fight for us, maybe it's for the best. But just as she finished speaking, the phone rang sharply in the background, a jarring intrusion in the tense silence. Everyone froze. Who could it be? Tom's face went pale, confusion flickering across his features. Something in his expression made Sarah's heart race anew. What did he know that she didn't? Tom, she whispered, dread pooling in her stomach. Who is it? His eyes widened momentarily before he glanced down at the screen. The moment felt suspended, an impending storm threatening to erupt. Tom's thumb hovered over the screen, hesitation etched across his face. The faint hum of the phone seemed to amplify the tension in the room, as if it were hanging by a thread, waiting to snap. Sarah felt her breath quicken, waiting to know what he was holding back. Just answer it, she urged, her voice breathless. He swallowed hard and finally pressed accept. As he lifted the phone to his ear, she could see the veins in his hands, trembling with unspoken secrets. Hello? He said, the word barely escaping his lips. Tom. The voice on the other end was smooth and unyielding. It was a voice that rang with familiarity, a voice that echoed the shadows they had been dancing around. Where have you been? The voice continued, cool and demanding, making everyone in the room lean in a bit closer. Sarah felt a surge of nervous energy pulse through her. The kids weren't just spectators anymore. They were now trapped within a web of tension, their young faces reflecting confusion and concern. Tom stammered, glancing at Sarah, whose heart felt like it was drowning in fear. Was this the moment when everything would spill over? Did you forget about our lunch? The voice shot back, cutting through the silence like a knife. We need to talk about everything. You can't just ignore me. Mark growled, who is that? Dad, what is going on? Tom's eyes darted helplessly from Sarah to their children. It's just a work thing, he said, attempting to dismiss it with a wave of his hand, but the tremor in his voice betrayed him. Sarah's heart sank. The words, just a work thing, felt like a betrayal stitched with innocent intent, a flimsy cover for something much darker. Tom? The voice pressed on, frustration evident. I need you to come to the office right now. The air grew thicker, choking off the remaining trust. Even their daughter, Lily, sensed the palpable change. She shifted closer to Mark, clutching his shirt like a lifeline. Is this really just about work? Sarah pressed, her voice trembling as she wrestled against the storm brewing inside her. Tom shot her a desperate glance, his eyes begging for understanding and reassurance. It is he started, but faltered, the truth clawing at him. I'll be right there. As he hung up, silence fell over the room, heavy with implications. Dad, Mark said, each word like a punch. If you have something to say it now. Don't leave us hanging. Sarah felt her pulse pounding in her ears. The idea of Tom going out after this conversation felt wrong. You can't just leave, she exclaimed. Can't you see we all need you here? I need to sort this out, Sarah. Tom snapped back, frustration boiling over. This is bigger than you understand right now. Lily's big eyes swam with tears, her innocence shattered. Are you going to leave us, Dad? The question landed like a lead weight in the middle of a chaotic room. Tom hesitated, the reality of his choices crashing down on him. He took a step toward his daughter, but then froze, uncertainty rooting him to the spot. I don't know, he whispered, despair lacing his voice. Sarah felt as if the ground beneath her was giving way. Tom stood on one side, tangled in his own mess, while she was left holding the pieces of their broken family. Tom, please don't, she said, her voice breaking. We can try to work through this, I know we can. But he didn't respond, his expression drifting further into conflict. She could see him spinning, caught between crossing the threshold or staying put. "Tom," she implored, "please don't run away." But just as she finished, the phone buzzed again. Tom flinched, the weight of a fresh message hanging in their air like a live wire. "Who is it now?" she whispered, dread gripping her heart anew. He glanced down, the color draining from his face. "It's her, it's Megan." The name sliced through the fragile atmosphere, a jarring shock that left them all reeling. "Who is Megan?" Mark demanded, confusion morphing into anger as he stood protectively in front of his sister. The room had become a battleground, and Sarah could feel the intensity rising again. Where would this lead? She braced for Tom's next move, knowing the stakes had just been raised even higher. Would Tom make a choice to stay, or were they about to lose everything? Tom's gaze faded into the screen, the name Megan sprawling across it like a glaring spotlight. Sarah's breath caught in her throat, the air around them thickening under the weight of unsaid words and looming chaos. "Tom, you need to tell us who she is," Mark demanded, his small fists balled up in defiance. Sarah watched her son, the sharp lines of his youthful face morphing into something older, angrier. She's someone I used to work with," Tom stuttered out, his voice unsteady, as if he were trying to piece together a shattered mirror. Lily let go of her brother's shirt, her tiny frame wavering. "Is she the reason you're going away?" The innocence in her voice crushed Tom. He stepped forward again, but the distance between them felt like miles. "No, sweetie, it's not like that." "I promise," he said, desperation lacing his tone. But as he reached for her, she shrank back, eyes wide with hurt. "Don't touch me," she cried, the simple command ripping through the tension. It reverberated like a silent scream, echoing off the walls like a distant thunder. Tom stopped, hand hovering in the air, and the silence that followed felt monumental, a gaping chasm where warmth and trust once thrived. "Enough," Sarah interjected, her voice rising. Tears gathered at the corners of her eyes, and she wiped them away angrily. "Tom, you are not making this better. You need to tell us the truth. What is going on?" "I swear, it's just work," he insisted, raising his voice in defense, but that familiar veil of anger flickered in his expression, revealing layers of anxiety. She could see the struggle, the frantic movements beneath the calm surface he was trying to project to the children, but Sarah was no longer convinced. "Just work? You abandoned us at dinner for just work?" Mark shot back, his anger palpable. "Who is this woman?" "She's pregnant." The words spilled out of Tom, sharp and uncontrollable, each syllable hitting like a slap. The room froze. "What?" Mark's disbelief was almost too much to bear. Lily's small face twisted in confusion. "Pregnant? Dad, what does that mean?" Tom's silence echoed, his eyes darting between the children and Sarah. "It means," he hesitated. "It means I got caught up in something I shouldn't have. I thought I could manage it, but Sarah didn't need to hear the rest." She saw the truth shimmering behind his words. Every moment of distance, every late night had been a siren song warning her that all was not well. "Tom," she yelled, clenching her fists at her sides. "How could you do this to us? To our family? I didn't want this to happen." He shouted back, voice cracking. "I didn't want to hurt any of you." "Too late for that now." Sarah shot back, anguish pouring out now. "You don't get to make excuses. You've put us all in jeopardy because you didn't own up to your choices." Mark stood rigid, uncertainty clawing at him. "Are you leaving us for her?" "No," Tom shouted, and the force of the word held a sincerity that cracked through Sarah's overwhelming rage. "I love you guys. I made a mistake. I thought I could fix everything." "Fix it?" "The cracks run deeper than you can imagine." Sarah raged, her heart breaking anew as the truth clawed at the edges of her composure. "You can't just fix a family by running away from your mistakes. We deserve to know." Tom's breath hitched, the reality of his choices narrowing in on him like a tightening noose. He was trembling now, the emotional chasm between them churning. "I'll figure it out," he whispered, but uncertainty betrayed him. "I promise I won't leave you. I just need to talk to her, to make things right." If you don't what?" Sarah pressed, vulnerability and anger intertwining, holding her firmly in place. The world outside their home faded away, leaving only the aftermath of shattered trust before them. "I don't know." Tom's voice broke, and the walls came crashing down. How had they arrived here? Another buzz filled the air, another message from Megan, but this time, Sarah didn't wait. She swiped Tom's phone from the table. "I won't let you hide anymore. Not now. Not ever," she said, heart racing. As she stared at the screen, filled with dread and determination, the reality of choice loomed larger than ever. What awaited her behind that name? A confrontation? A truth stronger than love? The kids stood silently, witnessing everything, their world shifting with every passing second. Would she dare to expose everything? In that moment, as she prepared to confront the lurking shadow, something inside whispered, this is just the beginning. How would Sarah handle the truth once it was laid bare? Sarah's heart pounded in her chest as she stared at the screen. The name Megan seemed to pulse like a warning light. She felt the weight of Tom's gaze on her, pleading, filled with a mixture of fear and desperation. She could almost hear his thoughts racing. How had everything spiraled so far out of control? "What is she saying?" Mark asked, anxiety clear in his voice. His small hands trembled slightly as he crossed them over his chest. Lily stood close to him, wide-eyed and quiet, sensing the storm brewing in the air. Sarah fought the urge to turn the phone away. "It's time we found out," she murmured, more to herself than to the kids. With a deep breath, she opened the message. "Megan, Tom, can we talk? I need you." The baby, the words hit Sarah like a blow. The baby. The clarity, the weight of those two words sunk deep into her gut, twisting like a knife. It was real, and it wasn't just about infidelity. It was about a life created outside their family, a life that would change everything. "Megan is pregnant," Sarah whispered, loud enough for Tom to hear. The moment she said it, she felt Mark's hand clutch her arm tightly, as if grounding himself amid the chaos unraveling around them. Tom staggered back, his expression shifting from horror to shame. "I didn't want it to happen," he implored, anguish painting his features as he spoke. "I never expected this. I thought I could keep it all separate, but it spiraled out of control." "Separate?" Sarah spat, fury coiling tightly within her. "How do you separate a family from this? You don't. You've put us all at risk." Tom. Lily, struggling to process what she was hearing, piped up, "Is that why you've been gone so much? Did you lie to us, Dad?" Tom turned to his daughter, his face crumbling under the weight of her innocence. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I thought I could fix my mistakes before they affected you." "Fix what?" Mark challenged, his voice shaking but sure. "This is a mess, Dad. You and Mom should be figuring it out together, not hiding it from us." "Is that what being a family is?" Tom paused, stunned. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. The silence that hung in the air felt heavy and suffocating. Sarah could see Mark's fists clench, his frustration mirrored by Lily's innocent confusion. "What if we all talk to her?" Sarah suggested, the idea hitting her as a possible path through the tangled emotions. "Maybe we can work through this madness together as a family." Tom's eyes widened. "You mean confront her?" "I don't know, Sarah. That could just make things worse." She might what?" Sarah cut him off sharply. "Say she wants you? You're already hurting us. Are we supposed to just wait for you to figure it all out while you leave us in this limbo?" Tom clenched his jaw, and something shifted in his demeanor. For the first time since all of this had begun, Sarah saw a glimmer of determination. "I'm willing to face this, but only if it means protecting you all. I never wanted you to be in this position." "It's not about you anymore, Tom," Sarah shouted, tears spilling down her cheeks. "It's about us, our family, our kids. They deserve better than this." The silence that followed felt monumental. Each of them gasped for breath, caught in the web of emotions threatening to suffocate them. Tom's expression wavered, and for a brief moment, the walls between them flickered, revealing glimpses of a shared struggle they were about to face together. "Fine," Tom said finally, his voice low but steady. "Let us talk to her." "But I'm scared." "Scared?" Mark echoed, his voice stronger now. "We're all scared, Dad. But we've got to face this together." As Tom took a tentative step forward, holding on to that fragile hope, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were venturing into the unknown, where every question held far more than they were prepared to confront. Dread and determination intertwined within her as she reached for Tom's hand. "Let us do this," she said, trembling but resolute. They were on the brink of an emotional storm. But as they each clasped hands, an unexpected thought flickered through Sarah's mind. What if Megan wasn't the only secret waiting to emerge? What other truths lay hidden just beneath the surface? The drive to Megan's place felt like watching the ground drop away beneath their feet. The tension in the car was thick, barely punctured by the sound of the engine and the muffled breaths of the children in the back seat. Each mile brought them closer to confrontation, to the moment they would face the woman who had turned their lives upside down. Tom's knuckles whitened as he gripped the steering wheel. His jaw was tight, and Sarah could see him replaying the guilt inside his head, a broken record of regret. It angered her, but she also felt a flicker of empathy. After all, they had built their life on love, trust, and now a shattered illusion. "Dad, can we just get this over with?" Mark's voice cut through the thick silence. It was laced with impatience, but also with fear. "Yes, but we need to be careful," Tom replied, his voice trembling slightly. Mark exchanged a glance with Lily, a silent conversation that spoke volumes. They were in this together, but none of them truly knew what they were about to face. When they finally arrived, Sarah took a deep breath, grounding herself as she stepped out of the car. The house looked ordinary, almost too normal against the backdrop of their chaotic feelings. She felt the weight of her children's anxiety as they followed her up the path. Each step felt heavier than the last. Tom knocked, and they waited. Sarah could hear her heart pounding like drums in her ears. Then came the sound of footsteps approaching. A few seconds later, the door swung open, revealing Megan. Her expression was one of surprise mixed with apprehension. "Tom," she began, but Sarah cut her off. "Stop. We're here to talk," Sarah declared, her voice firm. Megan's eyes widened as she looked at the whole family standing there, looking like a unit both strong and shattered. "I didn't know you'd bring them," she said, her voice lowering. "Why wouldn't we?" Mark interjected, stepping up beside Sarah. "This involves us too." An awkward silence filled the air as Megan processed their presence. She looked torn between fear and resolve, casting furtive glances at Tom. "Can we come in?" Sarah pushed, her heart racing. Megan hesitated, then stepped aside. The living room was small and cluttered, filled with the remnants of a life that didn't seem to match the enormity of the situation. Tom shuffled in first, followed by Sarah and the kids. Sarah could feel their eyes, heavy with apprehension, but she wasn't about to let them down. Megan glanced at Tom, a hesitant connection flickering between them. "I didn't mean for this to happen," she began, but Sarah interrupted again. "No more excuses. What exactly do you need from him?" Her voice came out sharper than she intended, but she couldn't help it. All the pent-up emotions needed to be released. Megan opened her mouth, but Sarah pressed on. "Don't you think the truth is better? We've dealt with lies for too long." Tom shifted uncomfortably beside her, and Sarah felt the flicker of uncertainty in him. She didn't want his guilt to stop him from having a voice in this conversation. I just need to figure out where I stand," Megan finally replied, her voice low. "I never meant to hurt anyone." "But you did," Tom said quietly, regret lacing his tone. "You can't pretend this isn't real." Mark's brow furrowed. "Are you going to keep the baby?" The innocence of the question hung heavy in the air, but Sarah was struck by the bravery in her son's voice. Megan bit her lip, the weight of their gazes pressing down on her. "That's what I need to discuss with Tom. But it's complicated," Sarah exclaimed, feeling anger bubbling beneath the surface. "This is about our family. You can't treat it like something you can just fix over coffee." The room fell silent. Tom moved closer, wanting to support her but uncertain of how. Sarah's heart raced, fueled by a mix of fear and adrenaline. They were on the edge of a revelation, a fault line ready to shake everything they thought they knew. Suddenly, Megan turned towards Tom, her expression shifting. "Tom, I don't expect you to make a choice right now, but I do think we need to talk about how we can co-parent," she murmured, her gaze steadying. Something in Tom shifted, and Sarah felt a knot tighten in her stomach. Co-parenting? Would that mean sharing their lives, their family even after everything? Before Tom could respond, Mark looked at Sarah, his eyes wide as if seeking clarity. Is it possible? He asked, his young voice breaking through the tension like a beam of light. Staring at the three people before her, Sarah's thoughts spiraled. What had she just walked into? This was more than just a meeting. It felt like the beginning of an inevitable storm that could rip their family apart, or maybe just maybe lead to an unexpected healing. As Megan waited for Tom's reply, Sarah's heart sank. Could they really navigate this minefield together, or would new secrets drag them further apart? What if everything they thought they knew about their family was just the beginning of an even greater truth? The room was filled with an electric mix of tension and uncertainty, each heartbeat echoing off the walls as Tom stood facing Megan. Sarah's heart raced. This wasn't the moment she had envisioned when driving here. She wanted clarity, yet felt only chaos. Co-parenting? Tom echoed, his brow furrowed. There was fear in his eyes, a glimpse of the man who still cared but was caught in the clutches of his choices and mistakes. You want me to manage this? He gestured awkwardly. This situation? Yes, Tom, but I understand it's complicated, it's a lot to process, Megan replied, her voice wavering slightly. But something shifted in the room as Sarah noticed a flicker of resolute determination in Megan's gaze. Mark took a step forward, interjecting. But what does that mean for our family? Those words rang out like a bell tolling truth. Sarah felt the weight of them settle over her family. She recognized her son's need for clarity, a guidepost amid their rocky path, and suddenly, she felt the enormity of her responsibility echoing in that small room. We will figure this out together, she interjected, forcing calm into her voice, though her insides were roiling. But you need to understand that we're not backing down. Tom glanced at Sarah, his expression softening for a moment as if awakening to a shared commitment. I never wanted it to come to this, he began, but the hurt radiating from Sarah cut him short. Tom, she said, taking a step closer, you need to dig deeper than at the surface of your guilt. You must face your choices, and then we need to decide how to move forward. She felt her pulse quickening. Megan, what do you need? What is your intention with the baby? Megan held their gaze, swallowing hard. I want to be honest, she said, her voice steadier now. This isn't just something to brush aside. I know this has turned your lives upside down, and believe me, I didn't want it either. But if this baby is on the way, it will impact all of us. We could make this work, show the kids that family can be more than just the traditional idea of it. As the words flowed, Sarah felt her heart both crack and swell, a mixture of empathy and despair. This was the truth of the situation. However difficult, it was real, and choices weaved around their lives like tendrils connecting them against all odds. But that isn't then, isn't it? Tom sighed, his voice trembling. I need to choose you both, the life I've built and the family that wants to grow. I've never felt this lost. Mark took a deep breath, standing beside his sister. Are you saying you need to decide? Do you want to stay with us? Or do you want to help this baby? Their innocence cut through the tension, reminding Sarah of everything they fought for. Tom's face twisted in conflict, anger and sadness battling for dominance. I want you both, I want my family, he said finally, his voice breaking. But I can't deny that this situation changes everything. As he spoke, Sarah felt something shift within herself. This wasn't just about Tom, about Megan. This was about their entire family facing a juncture, the potential for rebirth or for destruction. Then it's time to lay everything on the table, Sarah declared, her own voice surprisingly firm. We need to talk about expectations and responsibilities. This won't be easy, but we owe it to ourselves and our children. Megan nodded slowly, recognizing the sincerity of Sarah's words. I want to be part of this, whatever it means. I want to understand how we can navigate this together. The reality of a blended family loomed large in Sarah's mind. They were at a crossroads, and the only way was forward. We can't run away from doing this together, she continued, her resolve strengthening. Let us commit to a path where we can create a safe environment for our kids. Trust starts here, and it's going to have to be built step by step, conversation by conversation. The air was heavy with anticipation. Every eye in the room turned to Tom, expectantly waiting for him to make his choice, the voices of the children heavy with emotion as they suddenly realized they wouldn't just be picking up pieces, they might be crafting something new. Tom took a deep, shaky breath and finally looked into Sarah's eyes. Okay, together we start fresh. I will face my decisions head-on, and for the sake of the kids, we will make this work as a united front. An unsteady smile broke across Sarah's face, the strain of the past weeks lifting slightly. It wasn't exactly a happy ending, but it was a new beginning, a commitment to fight for what mattered. Mark and Lily both let out breaths they didn't realize they'd been holding, their shoulders relaxing. A fragile hope began to settle, a bridge being built where there had once been a chasm. This is just the start, Sarah said, gathering her children close, aware of the journey ahead. We'll continue to write our story together, embracing the twists and turns. Family means facing the truth, even when it hurts. In that shared moment, they felt the start of something different, an opening, a new chapter filled with the potential of transformation. They could rebuild, and together they would. As they walked out of the house, hand in hand, a sense of collective strength rose within them, leaving the uncertainty of the past behind. They were moving into a new light, however uncertain, full of possibilities, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. Now, this is the time for you to act. You need to subscribe right now to not miss our next exclusive stories, filled with inspiration and relatable journeys. This is the moment to show your support. If you enjoyed this emotional ride, hit the like button now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more people. We want to know what you think, so comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this amazing conclusion. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, we can create a community that believes in second chances and new beginnings. Join us.